Hi there, everybody. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
And Jolie Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet, and we'd like to welcome you to today's show, where John is going to tell us more about it.
It's going to be yet another page turning in the book club. Sara Landon has brought out a really excellent new book. Jolie and I have been poring over this, and it was very clear that this would be ideal fodder for Elevated Planet's book club, for our community, because within that we get to identify why we are here on the planet right now, and on an individual basis. So this is beginning that journey, and that journey will continue for several weeks, and we'll bring out a series of videos on it. But that is part of what we're doing here today, really, is to focus on that. But we have an initial section here, which leans into last week as well, last week's show, where we had Kristen Husted, who was talking about the San Francisco event that she'd been channeling. It was channeling Sophia, Wisdom of Ages, who comes through her, and was very specific, saying that on the 18th of February, there is going to be a great earth rift in San Francisco and all that. It was amazing, but it was also quite really well put, because it was definitely not intended to be fear-mongering, even though it sounds like it should be. It wasn't. It was put across in a really, really good way of deep spiritual understanding. So off the back of that, we're just going to dive straight into a short section here, just 5 minutes or so, with Pam Gregory and Anne Tucker talking about something that lines up to be something very similar. So we thought we'd keep that conversation going for now. We've got things to talk about on the other side of that. So without further ado, we are going to go there right now. So just bear with me a second while I switch screens.
Do know that all that Anne and I are sharing has to happen. That's part of the astrology. It's part of Anne's channeling messages that she's brought through so beautifully. And all of this is just going to disappear black and white and then into dust, as we are so excited about meeting with our angels, our galactic family, the pixies, the elms, talking to the tree beings.
Yeah.
It's going to fade into, gosh, how did we ever be, so focused on all that old stuff? It will just go to dust. So keep your focus on what we're creating magnificently in New Earth. And New Earth is, remember, is what we are becoming. It's an embodiment of a frequency. It's what we're becoming. It's not an out there, it's an in here.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, and I hate to go from that lovely high note to one other thought about something that we should be aware of. I don't know if it was Isla or the Angels who mentioned it. They gave several months ago, it came through that there is an earth rift, a big earth opening, a big earth event that they've never given. They rarely give me timings, very rarely, but this time they actually said it would be within a 1-year anniversary. And so sometime in the next year, there could be a very dramatic earth event. And it's actually mentioned that, and it was always said when I've been channeling this stuff, they always pooled events together. And they said the time that we have this economic stuff happening, they said all of it, well, it'll be like they use the word cacophony, like it would be, which is like a bunch of voices all talking at once. It will be many things happening in the same time period. And then the good news, we get through this period, and then that opens us up to the flash of light, which is this massive influx of energy that really boosts us into the higher state of consciousness, which is like, yay. But the earth rift, not so easy. But it is, my understanding is it's really important because it's part of what sort of cracks open the earth and lets the light in for Gaia herself, because it's her healing moment. It's her moment to let out, to heal. And so they said it would be within the next potential. And this is always, things can change. It could be within the next year. But in this beginning of this channeling, they mention it again. They say there shall be this is Isla, there shall be a great earthing of eventual force, which shall break apart and shatter the earth in many places. So when I first channeled it, they talked about the Indian Ocean, but I think it's the vision I get is like just a lot of plate movement. And so the thing I have suggested and that I'm holding is that we don't want to stop the earth from having her moment because it's her healing, but we can potentially soften it and hopefully prevent it from being quite as bad by offering presence, which is very healing. It's almost like you have a child who needs to get out an emotion, who needs to throw a fit for a minute. If you sit in loving presence and just shine love at that child, the child doesn't hold the tantrum nearly as long, right? They slowly soften, and then they end up like a little puddle in your arms, you know. And I think we want to try to, that's my feeling, is that we have the potential to be of service, to try to make, if there is a moment that Gaia needs, that she needs to shift some things around and needs to release, that we just try to do our best to hold her in the light and to send her loving presence.
I think, Anne, they were saying that I think your understanding was it would happen before this August, because they said something about them within the next 12 months or something. Do you remember we had a conversation about that?
Yes. Yeah. So, and I don't know, like I have to go back and see when the message, you probably remember the date much better than I do, but it was whatever time they said it would be within this yearly anniversary. It was the term that they used. Yeah. And I don't remember exactly when it came through. So sometime, this could all kind of be, so when I think about that July date and think about the banks and and then as a part of all this, there's other stuff that is in that I just kind of was peeking at in the book. They did talk about, like, there's messages in here about in terms of preparing, that it's a great idea to have, like, I love what they say here about what should we do, like how do we move through this. Number one is absolutely do the cash thing, like have some small bills. Everybody can, and everybody, you have to leave in the bank what you need to, like, make your life go. You got to leave enough money to cover your bills, but maybe think about some precious metals. And think about having some low value bills that you can use to kind of pay for things. And then here's a message that came in. This one is from, sorry, it's a long one. Let me just find the original date. It was January 26th. And this is in this book, this same What's Coming Next book. And it is on page 147. It will be a time of difficulty, and you must prepare. You must have for yourselves ways and methods of preparing for being, ways of feeding and housing that will not require payment of any kind. Storage of foodstuffs is important, dears. Storage of self-preservation. What do you need? What do you require? Have this. Be prepared in this method, not too extreme. Have no more than you wish to consume yourselves and share with others, but not more than that. Do not take on the burden of too many things, of too much, for this will weigh you down and transfer your consciousness into fear and survival. And this is this we wish not. Only to have abundance of thought, abundance of plenty, and no more.
And we're back. So yeah, that's I find remarkable when you start to align it with what Kristen Husted said last week, with the great Earth rift that she foresaw, care of Sophia, wisdom of ages, aligning very much there with Anne and it's Isla, who is the mother of creation. Because you just look at that and you take that 12-month period, right? So 12 months, if she received that message in August 2025, so that takes you through till August or late July of 2026 for that to happen if it were to be true. But this right now in February is literally halfway through that period. So you would say, okay, that's kind of a coincidence in a way that it's absolutely smack in the middle of the prediction. But the other thing that I wanted to mention as well at this point relates to a communication I had with Chris Stiles, the human futurist, this last week. And it came out with some really interesting things. We had a back and forth going on this. And it's amazing that when we get that energy flowing, and Chris is there, he's a mathematical genius with his intelligent mathematical blueprints. And he looks at things like also the Chinese astrology, which doesn't just lend into the whether you're a rat, I think I'm a rat actually, or a pig or whatever you are, right? There's always that. But then it aligns with the zodiac with the associated elements as well. So, for instance, this year is a number 1 year, which we know because it's 2026, and that equals 10, which breaks down to 1. So it's the first year, with 2025 having been the end of the previous cycle as a 9 year. So we begin a new cycle now for the next 9 years. So it's a number 1 year in those terms, but also under these Chinese astrology and zodiac signs, what you've got is the Yang fire horse this year. And this, as per Chris, right? So this is where Chris looks at it, not just through intelligent mathematical blueprints, but also leaning heavily into the ancient Chinese wisdom that comes through these signs. And each of them has, real meaning behind what they're about. So he's been doing some deep research into that as well. So he'd mentioned that this was like the 1 year and the Yang fire horse. And what he said was really interesting is that the Yang fire horse year tends to bring extreme cosmic energy, okay, always, and it brings much chaos. In 1666, that was exactly the same thing. It was a number 1 year, and it was the Yang fire horse year, okay? So that is okay, and interesting as well. Who was the king at that point was King Charles II, whereas now, here we are many years later with King Charles III on the throne of Great Britain and the United Kingdom. So, yeah, that's a coincidence right there. And Chris said that this all kicks off on the 17th of Feb. And as Chris said, when things start to happen in a year like this, he says, when it goes, it will be biblical, to give him the exact quote. Much like the fire of London, okay? The fire of London pretty much destroyed nearly all of London, and a lot of people died. Yeah, I mean, it was the most devastating thing that's ever happened in London in a very short space of time in 1666. We then got talking about the 17th of Feb, because that's when there is a full eclipse that takes place. So just in a few days' time is the full eclipse, where the moon crosses directly in front of the sun. Naturally, it's the only way. It wouldn't be the other way around, would it? But the eclipse path includes Peru and Chile, which are on the Ring of Fire, the Pacific Ring of Fire, okay, which was mentioned again during the discussion there between Pam and Anne. I noted that in Anne's message from the Mother of Creation about the Indian Ocean and basically the moving tectonic plates, which basically covers everything away across all the way down to places like Tonga. It goes across Java and Indonesia, which I find quite interesting because the Java Trench is one of the most active areas. In fact, it was the Java Trench that created the tsunamis of 2004. A sudden drop in the ocean and then a sudden rising that created the waves that did all the devastation, and 200 and however many thousand people died. So, the Java Trench is kind of almost a starting point for many things in past history. So it's a possibility. So the tectonic plates moving was delivered to her in August 2025. We've got the 1 year anniversary. February's right in the middle of that prophecy timeline. Most movement in the Indian Ocean has come from that Java Trench. But really, if we're talking about plate shifts within the Pacific Ring of Fire in general, that certainly does bring San Francisco into play. Through Chris, I also found out, through his research, he said that San Francisco was founded in 1776. And what's really interesting about that is that many things on Earth in the human cycles, if you like, move within 250-year cycles. 250 years would take them to 2026. Is that a coincidence? We'll find out. So what else? What else did we come up with? So on the mathematical blueprint for San Francisco and the Chinese astrology as calculated by Chris, it puts San Francisco right in the firing line as he would see it from the astrological blueprint and also from the mathematical blueprint. So also then you take the 17th of Feb 2026 and he did his numerological breakdown of that. And from that, you create the number 9-11, which only happens twice this year. And that one falls within the Aquarius star sign as it happens. And as Chris says, that signals everything catastrophic and chaos. Chris said, if I was told to choose the date of a 2026 eclipse that has catastrophe in it, it would be the 17th of Feb 2026. And there was a lot more that we spoke about beyond that, but for the sake of brevity, that's, you get the picture, right? So it's all aligning, and it's not like, what can I say? The 18th of Feb is the date as per Sophia through Kristen. Do I expect it to happen? I'm giving it a greater probability now because of all these things coming together. Do I want it to happen? No, I don't want it to happen because I've got a lot of friends in San Francisco. I don't want to see disappear. But what I also do know is, as per Kristen's message, is that those who are supposed to go, because it's already written into their life plan, would go at that point. And I think that's a really important thing to consider, because we all come in here with a life plan. We forget what it is. The veil of forgetfulness descends, and we get reprogrammed into the false matrix, get conditioned and programmed to fall in line with this version of reality, which is quite dense and third dimensional. But we then have the opportunity to unfold this and step back into our power as we work our way through our life. And that's what Sarah's book talks to as well. That's that point that we've reached now, is that, self-actualization. But I don't know. I don't expect it to happen, in truth, right? But I do place a greater probability on it than I did when I just first heard Kristen's kind of prophecy in the first place. So that's all I want to say on that point. So Jolie, can I bring you in for your thoughts?
Yes, that was a powerful mouthful there with, stacked on top of each other with Kristen. And then we have Chris, and we know the numbers, math rules the world. It pretty much runs the world. So to know that this mathematical blueprint that he's put together supports that is quite fascinating. And we're having all kinds of moon activity happening. I understand the moon may to some of us may not be what some others of us think it is, but we've got that moon energy as well happening. And then you throw in the ancient Chinese wisdom with that. We're talking about ancient indigenous Chinese wisdom.
Yes.
And we've got a conflagration of some energy here. So it's really interesting how much we have come with technology, and how you see the remembering. We are remembering. This is the remembering of back in the day, the ancients knew. Just like the animals, they know, right? You'll see them run to the top of the mountain when they know a tsunami is coming, right?
Yeah.
And they save themselves.
That's
and
right.
They just have this sixth sense versus what's been programmed out of us. We're now reabsorbing. So this is absolutely a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So, but in today's meditation, I'm sorry to interrupt, John, we can work on once again sending that positive energy to Mother Earth as well as her inhabitants in that part of the world, so that we may soothe some of that.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a really good point about the animals, because that was one of the things about the 2004 tsunami, wasn't it? That the animals, all those that weren't tethered down, all headed to the hills, like the many hours in advance of the tsunami strike. And what they put it down to scientifically, this is this magnetite that, like people have, we all have in our brains, whether you're a tiny bird or whether you're a human, right? And that's what they use when they're actually, if they are disappearing off from the UK over to South Africa somewhere, they know exactly where to go and where to come back to, because it's this natural resource that they have. But one of the things they've discovered in humans during this false matrix time, the magnetite's been switched off effectively.
And there's dissonance.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we get told not to trust our intuition, right? And that's
right. But as you can see, there's these way showers. We have Kristen, we have Sarah, we have Anne, we have, of course, Pam. And we have these great minds that have come together, like I said before, stacked on top of each other, saying, pay attention.
Yeah. And not to forget one of the other great sayers of our time as well, which is Jolie Gabrielle. Because it was not that long ago when we did one of our, sort of like, we do this thing where, you can describe it better than I can, Jolie, but, we go up to a higher plane of existence, and Jolie receives instructions from beings. And one of the things that she heard, and we've got this on recorded at somewhere within our our files, very much around Ring of Fire activation when everything was going to kick off on the New Earth side of things from a geological point of view.
Yes, that is very true. I did see that as well. And so it's good to know that, that now it's actually others are seeing that vision as well. So it's bittersweet. I say that with
Yeah.
a lot of compassion for that. Not like, oh yeah, let me be right. No, let me be wrong. Let
Yeah.
us all be wrong about that. That's
Yes.
kind of how I feel. But just have that in the back of your mind as something that could possibly be happening, because what it means is community. Let's send love to Mother Earth, to that part, so that whatever happens, if she is birthing something, right,
Mhm.
that it
Mhm.
come with peace,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. It also reinforces why doing the Thursday Pam Gregory meditations is a good thing as well, because that's all
Mhm.
about, creating the quantum, sort of like adding to the quantum wave structure that surrounds the planet with positive vibes and love and community and compassion and kindness and healing and all that kind of good stuff. And the other thing I want to mention, actually thinking about it, was the full moon that takes place on the 17th of Feb is the Ring of Fire full moon, right? I mean, honestly, you couldn't make it up, could you?
Yeah.
Because basically what happens is that if you're on the path of the eclipse, it literally, the moon sits right in the center of the sun. So all you get is the corona around the outside. So they call it, like, this is the only eclipse this year that is like that, but it's a Ring of Fire eclipse. Now, is that just a coincidence as well, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Mm.
And you know how these, I'm going to throw this out there, but you know how these ancient devils do it is that, maybe the coronavirus was this great sacrifice towards this whole thing that's going on right now. So be safe, pay attention,
Yes.
look for the patterns, because that's what's going to awaken even more of your intuition, is making the connection and letting that symbology sort of wake up and unearth what's already there.
We got some really fascinating comments here from Karina as well. She makes the point in 1906, which was also a fire horse year, Bing Dash Wu, which is kind of the Chinese side of things, there was the San Francisco earthquake and fire. Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. Nailed it. And she said, yes, it's like Mother Earth is crowning.
Mm-hmm.
She's very wise. Thank you for Karina for that.
Yes,
That's
thank you, Karina.
very, very relevant information right there. Okay, so now do you think we'll head off towards our next piece?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, so we're going to Sara Landon. We've covered Sara's work in the past. She's just very recently brought out a new book, which is very much of this time. I've read it. I find it fascinating, and it's definitely a great subject matter, as I said earlier, for our Elevated Planet book club, where we can come together on a regular basis and explore this and see what it means to us individually. We won't be doing it like every Sunday or anything like that. What we'll do is we'll do different videos. We'll put them out live as we go through these 11 spiritual ways in which we are here to help support the changes on the planet. And obviously, because we're all unique in our life force energy, in the reasons we're here, everybody will gravitate to different parts and pieces of this. But what this element that we're going to cover today is very much about that new paradigm for humankind. It's about setting the scene before we start to explore that. And it's beautifully put. And Sara channels the Council and Council of Ascended Masters, and it's a beautiful thing. Her books and the way she is with this, the energy around her and everything is just spot on. So I am very pleased to be bringing this to you, and I hope you enjoy this. And I think this is a journey that we can continue together for over quite a series of videos, if you like, and we can exchange information between us about how we gravitate towards certain sections of it. So if you bear with me a second, we are going to switch screens again, and off we go.
A new paradigm for humankind. You are here as love in action to help raise the consciousness levels. You are light in physical form, here to create your life experience as everything you intended it to be. You are here to help create a new paradigm for humankind. This is the most incredible time in our human history. The great awakening of our human family is occurring all around us. The next wave of humankind will awaken at an unprecedented rate and intimately affect the lives of your family members, your friends, your coworkers, and those in your community. With your help, the awakening journey of those around you can be a more loving, gentle, and harmonious experience as one steps through the veil of illusion and into the light of truth. A new path is emerging, and expanded possibilities for humankind are becoming the new way of what it means to be living, loving, leading, and thriving in an awakening world. It is time, like never before, for the leaders and the way showers of this great awakening to fully step into their power and guide the way forward. You really do have an important role in the great awakening that is taking place on your planet at this time. And you probably have always known this somewhere deep within your heart. Do you dream of a world where there is peace, joy, love, abundance, and harmony for all beings? Maybe you feel a deep sense of responsibility within you for creating a better world for those around you. You likely feel that you have an important mission or a purpose here in this life, but like so many, you might feel a bit unsure of exactly what that purpose is or how to successfully fulfill your mission. For some, you might even feel a bit stuck or overwhelmed trying to figure out what your purpose is or how to share your gifts with the world. You might feel unable to move forward in the way you wish you could because of your responsibilities. However, I assure you that you are here to assist humanity in the great awakening, or you would not be here listening to this. You are here to help create a new paradigm of peace, joy, love, harmony, abundance, well-being, and freedom. You have been uniquely prepared with gifts, talents, and abilities. Some of these gifts are now beginning to awaken within you. However, you came here with these gifts and abilities. You are needed, and now is the time. Live your destiny to light, a path forward. There has never been a more important time to embrace your power, to ignite the powerful force of love within you, and to light the path forward during this time of awakening and ascension into higher levels of consciousness that are available for humanity. Whether you have been on a spiritual path your entire life, or you're just beginning to really awaken to the power within you, this is your time to start living your purpose in the most meaningful and fulfilling way. It is time to live your destiny and embark on your own personal journey to living in higher dimensions of consciousness, where new possibilities and potentials for your life are waiting for you. You might have heard this higher dimension of consciousness referred to as heaven on earth, the new earth, or the fifth dimension. It doesn't matter what you call it, but it is the promise of a world without fear, lack, limitation, separation, prejudice, violence, war, and suffering. These things exist in a dense state determined by a lower level of consciousness that is often referred to as the third dimension. You are never going to eliminate things such as war, violence, fear, or lack from the third dimension. You are not here to fight against these things or try to change a world that you perceive as broken. You are here to elevate yourself beyond all of these things, to live and thrive in a higher dimension of consciousness where these unwanted things do not and cannot exist. It is your highest potential in this life. Your highest potential is to come into the realization of all that you are and to live fully conscious and awakened in the extraordinary and miraculous world of the fifth dimension, or, if you prefer, heaven on earth or the new earth. Once you elevate yourself into the fifth dimension, you will exist aligned to your true nature of pure love, where abundance and well-being are assured. Your greatest joy and fulfillment will come from expressing and sharing your unique gifts and abilities to illuminate the path so that others may also find their way to the fifth dimension of pure love. The fifth dimension, heaven on earth, a new earth, is available to everyone. However, you cannot take your limited beliefs of unworthiness, struggle, being victimized, and feelings of stress, worry, overwhelm, judgment, and separation into the fifth dimension. You cannot attempt to repeat the old habits of force, effort, struggle, and scarcity in heaven on earth. The old ways simply will not work in higher states of consciousness. It is about stepping into the new paradigm. Through the process of awakening and realization, each person can release guilt, shame, and feelings of unworthiness. One must also release old stories, the pains of the past, and the need to force and control circumstances and situations. They cannot go with you into the fifth dimension or the new earth. Your divine, inherent, natural state of being is love, peace, harmony, joy, abundance, well-being, and freedom. To align with these things, you must love yourself and create a deep sense of self-worth. It is only when you embody your own self-love and self-worth that you can fully express and share your gifts. When you do, you will create more meaningful, authentic relationships and experience the love and acceptance that you desire from others. When you cultivate your own inner knowing of the love that you are and your inherent worthiness, you will inspire, empower, and uplift others in the most extraordinary ways by simply being you. It is your opportunity to accelerate the evolutionary awakening on Earth at this time. You do so by stepping into the spiritual roles that you are here to play. As you do, you will joyfully share and express your gifts, and you will see the powerful role that your unique gifts play in the manifestation of the dreams in your heart. It is time to embody your truth, to fulfill your mission here on Earth, and to live in the fifth dimension of pure love. It is time. You are ready.
And we're back. So, Sara Landon and the Council, I love that. And it is fascinating once you start to break down those 11 spiritual roles and see what you identify with. Let's do it as a community. Let's work our way through them because it is really fascinating. And you'll gravitate to more than one in most cases, I would imagine. And I think that's why you're here, right? That's why you are watching this video, because we don't get out to a big audience. We'd love to. But the fact is, I think that people who can make the most of this and be part of who we are, and, we know that there's some amazing years ahead of us. And to be part of this community right now is so important. But on that note, we would love it if you enjoy the content that we pull together, that you could like, share, and subscribe to the channel. But certainly the sharing. Anybody that that you feel could value this. Now, and I know, I don't share this kind of stuff really with my mainstream friends and my mainstream family so much because I know that they just wouldn't. They're not there yet. As soon as they're ready, then I'll be there to support them in whatever way I can. But I know that it would be pointless sending this to some of my mainstream friends, because it's not where they are, and that's that there is no criticism of that, because there, by the grace of God, go I. Had I not had my reading nearly 8 years ago, which suddenly made me realize I was completely wrong about my version of reality. Other than that, I would still be stuck in my linear left brain version of reality. But it's been a fabulous journey to get to where I am, that's for sure. But yeah, like, sharing and subscribing is a beautiful thing from our perspective, and we really do value that. Also, in terms of sharing as well, just to mention, there's a new Twiglet Zone I put out just yesterday, actually. Just midday yesterday, we did a premiere on it. Again, I don't imagine it will have got very far. It's not the kind of one that will be advertised far and wide, because it doesn't meet, I think, the algorithms and everything. I think it's, I don't know whether it's a shadow ban or whatever, but I don't think that our videos really get very far up there in terms of the where they got put in front of people on YouTube, which is fine, because it's the way it's supposed to be. And we just know that build it and they will come, and we'll just put it out as much as we can. But the Twiglet Zone is entitled "COVID from the Cradle to the Grave." So it tracks where COVID was first talked about and planned, initially by the World Health Organization back in 2016, as something they were working on to release to humanity, along with the documentary evidence. That's basically from a fellow called David E. Martin, who's a professor, and he used to be the fellow who used to work with US government. He was in charge of the biological weapons side of things, where he would travel the world on behalf of American government, to inspect biological weapons and things like this, to make sure that there was no proliferation in place. Anyway, so he really knows his stuff, and he talks about that. And then we've got, going back to the piece which we did in Redacted last week, that was fascinating, but there's another piece that's added to that as well. It's like a trilogy of evidence. It's really interesting stuff. I enjoyed putting it together, albeit that it just does show the dark agendas that have been out around us for not just the last few years, but for probably thousands of years, I would quite happily say. But yeah, check that out. I'll put the link to that when I do the edited version of this. It'll be linked at the end of the show, so you'll be able to get to that as well, but you'll find it on our channel. But yeah, what Sara talks about there is beautiful, and I don't need to really elaborate on it, because I think it's just so wonderfully put. I can't add value to that necessarily. But Jolie, can I bring you into for your comments?
Yes, of course, Sara Landon. She's fantastic, and what she has to say and what she channels is usually right on the money. And when she speaks about this fifth dimension and the self-love and self-worth that is required, that's a great place to begin. Moving in a way that puts people we're programmed to believe that our putting ourselves first is egotistical, narcissistic, right? But then we hear, fill your cup first. And then even in the airplane, put on your mask first, then your children, right? So, I mean, it speaks to that. Nevertheless, there is dissonance there, right? There's a dissonance of, well, if I put myself first, then other people will lose, or other people will think I'm selfish. There's so many different hangups, but we're letting you know at Elevated Planet, let that go. When we're saying put yourself first, that means listen to your intuition, gather your routine that supports you, your body, your spirit, your mind, so that you can show up in a way that's joyous and enthusiastic in your life. And what does that do? That reverberates to other people. So when we say put yourself first, it means listening to your intuition, listening to your body, listening to what is right for you. And in that character development of authenticity, right, and integrity, you share, you expand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's very well put. And the other thing that really interested me there was talking about, you can't take the baggage from the third dimension over to the fifth dimension. And it's
Right.
letting go of all that, which again, as part of your guided meditations, this is a lot of things that you're talking about has always been about removing that.
Correct. And, it's time to really make a decision, John. That's what Sara and these people are saying. Like, there's no more of this wishy-washy, the dissonance. You cannot bring it to the fifth dimension. So it's about clarity, being clear about your purpose, about who you are, and the things that even you want or desire, and being clear about that, being real about that, and not being like, oh, I don't want to be materialistic. The universe is not on a budget. Please remember that. It's not like you have to go and tell everybody at the water cooler what you want. All you have to tell is the quantum, the divine. That's it. And then do your work. So let's try and remember that John is right. Sara's right. We cannot pull that baggage into the fifth dimension. It requires clarity of purpose and self-love.
Yes, yes, it does. It does. And again, a couple of comments again by Karina. And she mentioned about Dr. David Martin, who I spoke about, that's on the Twiglet Zone. The Twiglet Zone about the COVID. He said he's such an incredible human being. And I'd have to agree as well, because the courage and, the courage of the man, but not just that, but the enunciation of what the points he's putting across has so much passion. And he's actually addressing the European Parliament, right? This is not just an odd interview with somebody else. This is to the entire European Parliament Assembly, recorded. Interestingly, back in 2023, right, it never made the mainstream media at all. It was pretty much ignored. And why would that be, right? Because we know the mainstream media is totally controlled. So that's not where we get our truth from. And Karina was also saying that, again, the Sara Landon piece there was spot on.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, good. I'm delighted we're using this now, because this book, because I do think, again, this is just so much in line with where we are and where we're heading. And for us to step into our power, we've got to know and understand who we are, and just glory in it. Just kind of start to step confidently into those roles.
Yes.
So, what I was thinking, do you think it's time to step in towards that meditation?
Yes, it's time.
Thank you. Okay. Right. Well, that is what we are going to do now, everybody. We are going to repeat a short section of the Sara Landon and the Council, their words again, to help to set the scene for Jole's words of wisdom and meditation to take us off into that world where we can really start to loosen the bonds on those things that don't serve us and reinforce the things that do. So bear with me a second, we'll switch screens.
Your highest potential is to come into the realization of all that you are and to live fully conscious and awakened in the extraordinary and miraculous world of the fifth dimension, or, if you prefer, heaven on earth or the new earth. Once you elevate yourself into the fifth dimension, you will exist aligned to your true nature of pure love, where abundance and well-being are assured. Your greatest joy and fulfillment will come from expressing and sharing your unique gifts and abilities to illuminate the path so that others may also find their way to the fifth dimension of pure love. The fifth dimension, heaven on earth, a new earth, is available to everyone. However, you cannot take your limited beliefs of unworthiness, struggle, being victimized, and feelings of stress, worry, overwhelm, judgment, and separation into the fifth dimension. You cannot attempt to repeat the old habits of force, effort, struggle, and scarcity in heaven on earth. The old ways simply will not work in higher states of consciousness. It is about stepping into the new paradigm. Through the process of awakening and realization, each person can release guilt, shame, and feelings of unworthiness. One must also release old stories, the pains of the past, and the need to force and control circumstances and situations. They cannot go with you into the fifth dimension or the new earth. Your divine, inherent, natural state of being is love, peace, harmony, joy, abundance, well-being, and freedom. To align with these things, you must love yourself and create a deep sense of self-worth. It is only when you embody your own self-love and self-worth that you can fully express and share your gifts. When you do, you will create more meaningful, authentic relationships and experience the love and acceptance that you desire from others.
Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Begin to breathe with the rhythm of your body. Bring your awareness to your chest and have your heartbeat sync up with your breath while the portal between your heart and the center of your head opens. You snap your astral body in. You call your higher self above you, a comfortable distance above your crown, standing at the power position. Her aura layer is 1.5 feet around you. And you are rooting and grounding yourself into the core of Mother Earth. Feel what this feels like for your soul architecture to be intact as those golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles blanket the inside and the outside of your grounding cord. As you open your feet, visualize like the lens of a camera, pulling in 15% earth energy of a color that resonates with you. Say pool. This essence pools in the bottoms of your feet, travels up the side channels of your legs, while simultaneously your crown opens. And that 85% life force energy comes cascading down, raining down on your higher self, focusing itself in that space between your higher self and your crown. And gently and with grace and ease, this essence comes in. And it loves to go to the prefrontal cortex and the pituitary and the pineal gland, calcifying, decalcifying, moving out worry, doubt, and fear, solidifying and making, very much so, a road where prosperity, wellness, unconditional love, joy, laughter, connectivity, all of those are being strengthened, while the others, the ones that fail to be able to exist in the 5th dimension, become slick, making room for more joy and more abundance. As this essence then moves down into the neck, balancing your hormones, allowing for you to deal with your emotions in real time in a way that respects you and those around you, as this essence then moves down your arms, sparking that creativity as this garden grows in your arms and in your hands, nourishing yourself and those in your environment as that essence then moves down into the chest cavity, bringing more love, more breath, more expansiveness as it moves into the belly, bringing nurturing. Mother Earth, it meets there, and she's bringing the iron and the zinc and the selenium. She's bringing those vitamins and minerals that you need for your body, your mind, and your spirit, mixing in with that 85% gold as it then begins to fill you up like water fills up a cup. Breathe with the rhythm of your body and just feel this warm energy embracing all of your cells with love, unconditional love, joy, and of course, wellness. And when it comes up to the heart chakra, I want you to take a deep breath in and exhale out as it moves up, up, up into the shoulders. At your own pace, see this essence, earth energy, 15% of a color that resonates with you, and that 85% cosmic gold life force energy mixture. When it begins to reach the crown, it picks up momentum and starts to sprout out like a fountain. And your hand chakras open. It sprouts out of there, and your feet chakras. Work it out. There's some things coming in and some things going out. How's that working? As it starts filling up your aura layer, what are you letting go of and releasing? What programs, patterns, conditioning are you sending down that grounding cord? And that gold light and that essence of Mother Earth comes in and wipes the slate clean, allowing you to move into that energy. While this is taking place and you are breathing with the rhythm of your body, I want you to be clear of the vision of who you really are and your purpose. While this magnificent energy is moving through your body, hold the vision and the space. Of who you really are, that fifth dimensional energy. Enter that quantum field as this essence then begins to dissolve the boundaries that are you, and you become no place, no one, and no thing. Therefore, it's nothing but worthiness, nothing but unconditional love. So when you come back and reformulate yourself, these atoms and these cells will be nothing but that divinity, quantum energy, and unconditional love. So fly off into that space. Allow for those, the essence of you, like carbonated bubbles, to sort of just fizzle and go away. And you are that cosmic energy. Hold on to your vision. See it while you are here. Feel what it feels like to live in the now in that energy. You have access as you breathe with the rhythm of your body, knowing that it is safe for you to step into that new reality that you are holding space for, the one that resonates with the fifth dimension, aligning you with your purpose. As you breathe and know that you are nothing, you are no one, and you are nowhere. You're right there in the quantum. See that vision. See the joy. See the unconditional love. What does it look like? What does it feel like? As you breathe with the rhythm of your body, and feel that serenity and liberation take hold of all of your cells. As you breathe in divinity and you breathe out divinity. And now while you hold this vision and feel those feelings, a golden sun is being put over your head and your higher self by the divine. And inside is divine divinity. Because that's what's needed to move into the fifth dimension, bringing all that wellness, unconditional love, joy into your cells. So as that 85% cosmic gold rains down on that golden sun of divine divinity and your higher self and comes into your crown, and as that earth energy and that 85% cosmic gold and 15% earth sprouting out of your feet, hands, and crown chakras, filling up your aura layer. You are a new you. Come back and reformulate, recalibrate, reprogram for sovereignty, liberation, self-love, worthiness, released, gone, anything that no longer resonates with the authentic you. And as your higher self reaches up its hands and pulls that golden sun down through itself, and in that space between your higher self and the crown, that golden sun breaks apart into 50 trillion cells. And as you come back together, it combines with that energy, that earth energy, that cosmic life force energy. And as you take a deep breath in and exhale, those 50 trillion cells have integrated into the new you. And this golden sun, that X goes down the grounding cord, chasing away those golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles into the core of Mother Earth. And your body and your aura is beaming. It's just beaming. So just sit in this energy for another moment as you breathe with the rhythm of your body. And you feel that love that is you. So take a deep breath in. Exhale and visualize your feet closing like the lens of a camera and that earth energy receding back down into Mother Earth. Take another deep breath in. Close those hand chakras like the lens of a camera and see that energy of your aura layer settle, relax in, and glow. You take another deep breath in, gently, exhaling gently as you close your crown like the lens of a camera and see that cosmic gold life force energy ascend back into the heavens. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
All over body tingles on that one.
Yes.
Powerful.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that really was. And one thing I did want to just share with the community actually was a deep vote of gratitude to Jolie, because she wasn't very well yesterday at all. And it's only her commitment to our community that brings her here today, when most would have not been. So thank you.
No, it's an honor. It's an honor, truly. What a privilege to be here. And I thank everyone for showing up. And thank you, John.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
very much for being on this journey with me.
Yeah, I'm glad we're on this journey together. And I know that
Yes.
our meeting back in or is it not 19? It was 2020, February 2020. That was
Yeah.
6 years in the making now. And that was not an accident. That was just a
Yes.
beautiful synchronicity. And I feel that we share that sort of synchronicity with our wider Elevated Planet community as well. We're all here
Absolutely.
for a very divine purpose. And again, thank you to those who've been, we've got again from Kate, beautiful. Venus, I am Venus entering this energy.
Oh,
Thank you,
wow.
Venus.
Beautiful, Venus. Thank you.
And Karina says, beautiful. Thank you, Jolie. I am held,
Absolutely.
I am guided, I am loved, and I am valued. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
And
Those are the affirmations.
Kit also says, please feel better very soon. It's Jolie. So
I am on the mend.
yes, she's resilient. Yay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And again, Karina says, for those whose light language has been activated, let it flow through you often. It is a unifier. It creates a coherence in the collective. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Karina, yeah.
yeah.
Karina, thank you so much. Please keep coming back with those beautiful comments.
Yeah.
You know, and epiphanies, because that's what we're trying to do, is really wake people up. So that's deep.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
I know that we also have Sean the Shaman, who is from Cottage of the Priest.
Sean, thank you so much.
She's not. I haven't seen any evidence of her here today because I know she tends to work during our live shows. But when she has been here, one of the things I do know, because she puts out on her own channel light language, and it's amazing. And I'm sure it's the same for Karina as well, because when it flows forth, you know that this is a language. It's not somebody just making up something. It's so amazing. And yes, it absolutely has activations. Yeah. So thank you, Karina. And yes, she says love to you both, and straight back at you, Karina.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Wrap up mode. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Wrap it up.
So
we almost on time, John. Look at that, 9:05.
aren't we doing well? So
Yes.
again, just to make that point about like, share, and subscribe, please share it as far and wide as you can. And the same thing for the Twiglet Zone. Anybody you think it might help to awaken, or at least, because again, as with all these things, whether you see it as truth or deluded nonsense is fine, because it's for where you are on your journey. But
Correct.
when you keep sending these little triggers out there that might just create that question, that makes people question the official narrative and start to go deeper within and explore and to navigate things for themselves, to investigate and to work out what their version of reality is going to be. That's the best thing, right? Because again, it's not our job to tell people what to think. It's just our job to put the energy out there between Jolie and I and let people decide for themselves where it fits on their journey. So that's the long and short of it. So other than that, we'll have the newsletter going out tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll be have the edited version of this show. Anybody who wants to join our distribution list, please send me an email to johndrew@elevatedplanet.life. And I will make sure that happens. Or you can go through elevatedplanet.life, our website, where there is a contact page with a free format question, free format. What am I trying to say? Contact box on there. Then you just send us any message that you care to there. And I know that we have been getting more to go on the list. And in fact, I've been doing that very thing today. So people are being added to our distribution list as we speak. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's it. Till next Thursday, we will be doing the live
Pam Gregory
inspired global meditation, magnetizing the new earth consciousness and the new earth frequency. And it doesn't get much better than that. So hope to see as many of you there who can make it. If you can't make it live, then you can see the recording and it will be the same energetic value. feeding out into the quantum field as if you were there at the same time, because I know it's difficult for people in different parts of the world to always map onto that specific time in the UK. That's it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.